Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Comic Game Movie Show.
And today, what are we doing again?
Well, me and Seth we're about to review Akira.
This is, you know what, though? I shouldn't say, this isn't like a total review. This movie's been out for, 30 years?
30 years, but
so it's like, this isn't really a review. This is more of like a discussion/review, because we're going to talk about it, and we're going to give it a score. Because we just watched, I've never seen it before.
Yeah, we realized, like, when we were walking around, we went to Second and Charles, shout out to Second and Charles, we were walking around.
Not sponsored by Second Charles.
Wouldn't mind, though, Second and Charles.
Wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I would not mind, but yeah, we're sitting there watching it, walking around, and we saw Akira, and we're like, you know what? I had seen the movie a long time ago.
And also Deshaun, Sean picked it up and he handed it to me, and he was like, man, I heard this anime was so good. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, really? Honestly, everybody I know says Akira is a masterpiece. That it's like this thought-provoking, phenomenal anime that's like untouchable.
Anime movie.
Anime movie.
So let's get that out of the way. It's a movie
that's untouchable, that's inspired so many other movies. And you can tell when you're watching it that it inspired so many other movies, that this anime is like a trailblazer. And
this movie also was a cult classic, apparently, that you told me, that it didn't get at the time what it, the big push that, say, Ghost in the Shell got, or Dragon Ball got.
Even to this day, it's still an animated movie that's kind of buried behind.
It is buried.
Other things like Ghost in the Shell and.
Not saying it's any better, not saying it deserves it. It doesn't deserve to be buried, but damn, it is really good. What, it just cut out on you?
Did it just cut out on me, or is it doing something else?
Oh, it's still recording.
Sorry about that, people.
Technical difficulty. So anyway,
all right, we're good.
So it was something else.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was shit, what was I saying?
Get on, Sam.
Okay, so it was one of these things where it's like, it didn't deserve to get buried, but it's not saying it's, like the Ghost in the Shell is worse because of it. It's still, like, Ghost in the Shell is still the best animated movie in anime I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And Akira, like, say Akira came out right now with an anime series, like about the Akira universe, I'd watch it.
Well, I give Akira this too. Akira is, you know why I say this anime might be the best? Because it didn't take advantage of anything. It didn't come out with a series afterwards. Ghost in the Shell, for all its greatness of that first movie,
did take advantage of its hype.
It came out with like 3 sequels. It came out with a couple television shows.
Came out with one anime series.
No, a couple anime series. There's a couple anime series. There's like 3 that I can think of right now.
And a live action movie.
Akira
didn't get any of that.
It never got any of that. It never got a show. It never got any of that. And honestly, it they've been trying to make it into a movie, but they can't quite find the person who can capture that. And when you watch the movie, you realize that this world that they created is just so unique, and it's like, dude, I don't know who can put that on a screen.
It's one of those, like, it's like you can't capture lightning in a bottle twice.
But to be fair, to Ghost in the Shell's credit, sorry, people who think we're kissing Ghost in the Shell's ass, they did capture the look.
We're looking at you, commenter, who called us poster boys.
They did capture the look of Ghost in the Shell. That city looked like the Ghost in the Shell city. That's about it.
Even though it came out before Ghost in the Shell movie. I think it came out before the Ghost in the Shell movie.
I think so.
I think it did, because it came out you said 1987?
88 or 87.
Like 1988, 87. Well, let's get into, before we discuss around Akira and what, and how anime itself could change. This is our opinion, by the way. If you don't want anime to change, more power to you. This is our opinion. We want anime to, to grow and evolve. And where we're at right now with anime, to us, it doesn't seem like it's doing that. It seems like it's staying in this little bubble that it's created for itself, and that really makes us sad, because we do like anime. We do like it as an entertainment genre. It's just we can't get into it because it's just all this bullshit around it.
And ironically,
personally to me,
one of the best animes. I still think it's one of the best animes, even though I can't give a shit every once in a while. Dragon Ball Z actually created this problem because Dragon Ball Z was so popular.
And it's not Dragon Ball Z itself's fault. No, it was a ripple. You know what? No, it was a domino effect.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Dragon Ball Z was so popular, and people loved so many of the colors, and it was so original, and it was so unique that everyone just started to copy that.
Yeah.
And they realized, wow, this cash cow is going to copy this thing.
Yeah, and we're not saying all anime is like that. There are probably some animes deep out there that we don't know about that are really good, or that at least maybe not good but different. We're not trying to label, like, broad stroke all this. We're really not trying to, so we do apologize if it sounds like it, but we're not. So, let's get into it. The story of Akira is around a dystopian future in Neo-Tokyo.
Yeah, Neo-Tokyo.
And right after this mysterious explosion that happens in the year 1988.
Yeah.
And this takes place in 2019. So...
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner, right? So anyway, let's get started. The story focuses primarily around three different sectors. Well, two sectors and one sort of goes on one sector. The government, scientists / government, and kids. And the kids.
These biker gang.
And the biker gang into one. But, so anyway, we're not going to say who the characters are because honestly, we can't really pronounce them. I'm sorry, we just don't.
Yeah, it's hard to pronounce them. I know the main protagonist wears that red jacket, though. He's the leader with this awesome
So we're going to go through each member, try to describe them best we can. So first is the leader, the guy with the red jacket with the pill on his back. He's the main leader. He's the guy you see on the cover of it.
Yeah, he's the main protagonist.
Throughout the entire film, he's the leader. He's that tough leader guy who keeps the group together.
He's strong. He's witty. He's creative. He's the perfect kind of protagonist you would think of for a leader of a group like this in the streets. He's smart.
Yeah,
he can scrap.
So. He can fight.
He can
and he can ride too. That bike.
And he can ride. He is the definition of what you would want in a leader in this kind of a world. And he keeps his friend together.
And it's
funny.
He
looks out for his friends.
And we'll talk about the setting next, but anyway, the world of it is so incredible and how it looks. The guy, whoever drew that, deserves $1 billion to me.
Akira might be one of the most beautiful animes
even though some of the graphics on, I did note very rare. This was rare. There's very little pieces that looked kind of messy. But overall, it's beautiful. It's like someone painted this. It's art.
It's art.
But anyway, now we're going to get into... We do know one of the names, Tetsuo. He's the guy that it focuses around him right, a little bit, like a few minutes into the movie. His character is, he's just a prideful, egotistical guy who doesn't, who he believes he doesn't want to be saved.
But you see why he has those kind of
You do eventually see why.
Why he's the way he is.
You want to spoil this movie because it's been out for 30 fucking years. So
sure, yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, there is a reason why. It's because he feels resentful, of the leader who is his best friend, who's been saving him all this time. He doesn't like that anymore. He doesn't want to be saved anymore. So when he eventually what happens to him, he gets in an accident, and he unintentionally unlocks these weird powers within him.
Yeah.
And these powers just immediately go right to his head. And I would say that's Deshaun said it the best. You give a man like that kind of abilities, he could do some very vile stuff, and he killed one of his friends. Because he was pissed at him because like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like this isn't what we do. We don't do this. And and he was like, oh well, I'm better than you now, basically.
But as it turns out, the reason he has these powers because there's the movie's called Akira, and Akira is the evolution.
Entity. We're spoiling it. Akira itself was once a human child who was dissected to a point to where he's nothing but these organs in jars, which is sad. It really is how they fuck. And you know what? Like, if there are people out there that are perfectionists that maybe this isn't really what it was, this is what we saw it. So if there are people out there that's like, oh, that's not really what it was, you can shit on us in the comments below. We don't really care. Yeah. But anyway, he was this thing in jars. He was once a boy. It did establish that.
And he had this great power. He was the next step in human evolution.
And they wanted to take that power and put it in other kids. So they had this orphanage to where kids kids who were thrown away by their parents would be used to, as guinea pigs. That really, it's kind of fucked up in the head. Granted, is this concept new? No. But the way they handle it was really good because it was like, it's not a new concept, but man, it really does get your heartstrings pulling a little bit.
Yeah.
To me, it did anyway. And, to me, I don't usually, I'm not a cold bastard, but it does take a little bit.
And throughout the story, the main protagonist, the kid with the red and the pill on his back, he's trying to save his friend. No matter what his friend did, no matter what his friend does, he is trying to save him. He is a good friend. He is trying to save him. He's trying to go out of his way.
It's not because he wants to,
He's doing that while he's hitting on this one girl who's kind of leader, not a leader, like working for this kind of rebellion, trying to stop
this underground sort of thing where apparently this was set up by one of the ministers who leads the government. So that was a little, the whole government thing was really confusing. I didn't quite get it. So, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but...
It was a power play,
It was a power play. I think it was the whole rebellion itself was a power play for him to get power. I'm not sure. That's... So, but power to if you know, let us know and correct us, please. So... Anyway, and you know what, though? He's not doing it out of malice. He's not trying to save him out of because, I got to. He's saving because, no, he's my friend.
Yeah, and no matter what he does, no matter what
I'm
going
to save him. He's my best friend. And, that's how I think that's another lesson that we try to teach you is that, listen, you got to go after. Your friends are, people themselves are one in a million. But your best friends are like are priceless, and you need to look after them.
He didn't do that. Friendship conquers all. He lost some of his friends.
Oh, he did. Yeah, some of it. Two of them were killed.
Yeah, one of them were killed by the other, and he was left in the end with his friend gone, never to be seen again.
Yeah, never to be seen again. This movie ended very bittersweetly. It was bittersweet ending.
And this movie itself is brutally honest. Like, honestly, like some of the things you see.
Like, this is gonna. So, trigger warning to any one of you out there. I'm about ready to talk about the scene that fucked the shot up. Pretty funny, actually. It fucked the shot up. All right, so anyway, he steals the bike right after it's because he wants to just leave and run away for some reason. I can't really, honestly, off the top of my head, remember why he wanted to run away. But he runs away with this girl who. I guess he liked her, or somewhat.
His girlfriend,
kind of. Well, these chicks who hang around these guys are kind of like the old '50s sort of like women who like tough guys.
That's another thing. You can see that they were inspired by classic gangster movies with like these greasers and like they're the popular kids and the biker, and they got these girls on their side.
They're the tough guys.
They're the tough guys
who have the cool toys. So obviously they're gonna hang out with them.
Yeah,
and they do it. And you know what? Some not all women. Hashtag not all women. There are some girls that even we knew that that like just like the tough guys just because they got all the cool toys. And as soon as those toys go away, doesn't really matter. But so anyway, so they run away. And this rival biker gang, who they've been chasing for a while now.
Yeah, they got in a fight. The first thing you see at the beginning of the movie is them getting this road
fight. It was pretty cool.
This biker road fight, and them just
and they knock him off the bike, and they see this girl there, and they push her against the wall, and they rip her fucking shirt off, just like no warning, just boom,
no bra, just pure tits,
pure titties,
and it
right
messed me up because I am not used to seeing that in anime. Other than Ghost in the Shell, that's the only other anime I could think of off the top of my head.
Where you see boobs and nipples.
Yeah, like in most animated things that I've seen lately.
Even the really like weird like cocktease ones, they're like so fucking small. They're not even showing their boobs per se, or they're making it a joke. Like, no, this girl was could have, potentially anyway, she didn't, thank God. That would have shot even more. She could have been raped, and that's what they were going for. They were playing with her, and they ripped her shirt off, and I was like, damn, holy fuck. And then in this post-apocalyptic world where there's not a whole lot of police officers to go around, it's fair game. I mean, sorry to say, but it is.
Now, I'm about to see the message you up with his guts falling on the ground.
That one it was more like, because I didn't know what was real and fake. So I was like, all of a sudden, all of his intestines just opened up and on the floor. It was pretty crazy. Anyway, no, he was developing his powers then. He had a vision. It wasn't real.
His powers were developing too fast.
And he was mutating too much in order to keep up with it. So anyway, there's a lot of like internal stuff that goes on in the middle. Basically, he ends up in the hospital again. He finds the kids who have been being tested like this for 30 years, apparently. Yeah, they're the same original kids who got tested.
That's why they look like that.
Because they're 30 years old, but they've been drugged so much that they still look like kids. Mm-hmm. They haven't grown up. They haven't evolved, and which was just a weird concept to me, anyway. Yeah. But shit, like there's a lot of exposition to go on there. It's really nothing really to get into. You have to watch the movie. But anyway, it skips to the end where he eventually, the kid Tetsuro kind of wins.
Yeah,
he takes out the entire army, most of it anyway. He figures out what Akira really is, or what he thinks it is, and this is all this DNA they have to play with in order to make more of him. That's all Akira was literally the vault to make more of them. That's what it was until it found out all that shit was once a child who had these abilities. And that's why, and then it goes on later where his powers, he hasn't taken his medicine, and his body starts expanding like an amoeba. His body just starts growing and growing and growing. It's disgusting looking, really. I had to look away a couple times. I'm like, that's just messy on the eyes, man.
Yeah, in this movie, it's pretty kind of sad in the end because you realize Boyd never asked for any of this.
He never did. It's just
like none of this.
Granted, he took it too far,
but it was one of those things, like, of course he would, but, like, but you feel like if he had time, he could come back.
Yeah.
That he could reflect on it.
And but he couldn't, there was no time. Because he just mutated out of control.
And in the end, he was screaming for his friend.
To save him, and he just couldn't.
And he couldn't. And he was trying his damnedest, no matter what happened. That's the saddest thing about it.
Yeah.
He came there, his friend, the leader, the one in red, he came there to kill him. Mm-hmm. He came there, in the end, to kill him for killing his other friend. But in the end, he was scrambling to save him, no matter, even in the end.
Yep.
And he couldn't.
I mean, shit, the other kids had to sacrifice themselves because he jumped into the void, or whatever that was. He jumped into this light that Akira caused in order to absorb him in there or to prevent him from causing more damage.
Yeah.
Is what I'm guessing. He did that they brought Akira back from what he was, which is pretty nuts. Those 3 kids can do that. I didn't even know that at the time. But it's like, so anyway, they brought him back in order to save Tatsuo, I think. Now I'm starting to forget his name.
Well, they brought him back to make sure that this thing doesn't grow and kill everything.
Yeah, so that's why, because we kept growing, like I said, because they made the comparison to what Akira is to an amoeba. All amoeba does is it grows and eats and eats and eats and eats and it grows and eats and eats and eats. And that's what he was becoming. He was basically becoming that. A human amoeba. He just kept growing into this disgusting looking thing. And also, saddest part for me was he killed his girl.
Yeah.
She just went there just to comfort him or to try and get him out of there, bring him some comfort or whatever. And she got fucking crushed. And she got juiced. And I was like, oh, man.
And usually in these tragedies like this, in a tragedy story like this, especially in gang movies, you would know, if you watched enough of them, I've seen enough of them to know that usually the one troubled gang member, the one who's really down and troubled or whatever,
his girlfriend usually bites the dust.
His girlfriend always dies with him. It's just, I don't know if it's just a thing that happens because, she sticks by his side even when she sticks by
bad. Yeah, and you know what though? That's loyalty though. I think that was another message it was teaching was loyalty. It's
totally loyalty. I mean, this movie had so many messages. Honestly,
we could make a whole separate video on the messages it was trying to preach. But this is the biggest, in my opinion. This is the major one, overall lesson, was that you can't play God. If you do, it's going to blow up in your face, and you're going to cause damage and havoc all around you. That's the biggest one. There's way more lessons underneath that. But anyway, I think we should give our scores. We pretty much spoiled it.
You know which one it doesn't have? Friendship conquers all. That ain't a lesson.
Yeah, that ain't a lesson either. And, getting angry always wins.
That ain't a lesson.
There's so many. It doesn't. You know what's funny? This anime came out way before DBZ. It came out in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And DBZ, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, came out in the 90s. And Dragon Ball had come out before that. Dragon Ball came out around the same time as this, I think.
Dragon Ball probably would have.
But it was just it didn't. Around the same time. It didn't do any of that. It didn't need to go.
But Dragon Ball took another path, took an original path of its own. So I can't really give it too much credit.
Exactly, but still, even though this existed way before that, it didn't invent these problems, which is really funny to me. I don't know. It's a weird mind. This is a mind fuck of a movie.
It is a really thought provoking movie. It's one of those movies that you watch.
It's
later that night, you're sitting in the shower, you're sitting in your bed, you're just thinking about it, and it's a really deep, thought-provoking movie that...
And then, there are some things that just aren't ever explained. And, I think they did that on purpose.
Though it leaves you with this feeling of hope, because in the end, when they teleport to another dimension, let's put it that way.
I think they do anyway.
They either teleport to another dimension or something along those lines, but they leave us with this, that, you know what, we will return when you are ready.
And they said it was close.
And you say and it's already begun. You've already begun to evolve.
Yeah.
So it won't be long before we come back, basically.
Yeah, because humanity wasn't ready for them. Humanity wasn't quite ready for these people yet, or those kids yet. They weren't ready to evolve yet. And that's why I think Tetsuo is dead, because I don't think he's coming back, per se, because he was already way too late of a case anyway. Those kids might come back, though. And you know what? Akira might come back, too. Might come back as a full, he might be alive again. And, it leaves that really...
That's the real tragedy of this movie is Akira. That's the real overarching, when you sit back and think about it.
He didn't ask for that either.
He didn't ask for any of this shit, man.
They literally, his parents just dumped him there. They found he had abilities, and they fucking just ripped him apart, piece by piece. And then they use his corpse to make more of them. And I'm like, holy shit. How low can you go? But... that's another message it has. Humanity fucking sucks.
Yeah, that's got a nice little message about humanity and the deaths and and you don't have to look that much far. I mean, people have done worse shit like this in real life, not this kind of results, but obviously people have done things like this in real life. So it's
basically another lesson also it has what I got is the ends never justify the means. You can't always the ends never can justify the means. Not even. But anyway, let's give our score. I give this movie a fucking 9.5.
I give it a 10.
Solid 10. Yeah.
I give it a 10 because...
I only had one real problem with it, and that was the lip syncing. The way the lip syncing and the voices didn't sync quite right. It did get on my nerves a little bit.
The reason it didn't bother me too much, because I was just listening to the dialogue. I was just looking... I never was, looking at the mouths. I wasn't looking at the mouth.
I wasn't either, though, but I just noticed it for a split second. I was like...
There are a couple times, but I've seen so many animes.
It's like the mustache thing. Yeah. As soon as you catch it, you can't look... You can't not see it.
But, I wasn't really paying too much attention to that. I was just listening to the dialogue and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
And I said, this anime is art. This anime is a piece of fucking art. It's a piece of art. I understand why some people call this the greatest anime of all time.
Animated movie.
Animated movie of all time.
So anyway, now what we're gonna try and get in here to is just this discussion of like mainly you want, and I'm gonna ask you right now before we continue. Do you even want to have this discussion?
I don't know. Maybe this is a discussion for another video.
Maybe we should.
Maybe we should end at 20, and like this might be a discussion for another video that might come out.
Because like I said, this animated movie sparked something within us that was just like, why the fuck are all these other animes today like this? If you have masterworks,
there are movies. There are movie animes. I don't watch all of them, but there are animated movies that still come out that are thought provoking. Problem is, a lot of those get buried. Yeah. Like you don't even hear about those movies. Like
over top of these animated series that are just so
animated series that are just so
that is just garbage.
Yeah, that are just like this cotton candy sugar coated bullshit.
Yeah,
and you got these animated movies that are out here doing thought provoking things and doing like interesting things and making people think and making people and then but it's just covered with all these cotton candy bullshit of these animated series like Fairy Tail and goddamn My Hero Academia.
Gurren Lagann.
Like, some of these animes are just such bullshit. Like, they're just eye candy bullshit. And then you got animes like this, animated movies like this. And there's more animated movies out there like this that I haven't even seen yet that maybe I might look into. I don't know if they got English dubbed version of them, but still.
Don't give a shit about the Japanese bullshit, okay? It's distracting as shit to look at subtitles. I'm sorry. I look at the subtitles more than I do the anime. Go fuck yourself.
But like, besides that, like, there's animes out there that are like that, and like, it just saddens me that there's not enough of those in series form. Oh, Cowboy Bebop is like one of the only Full Metal's pretty thought provoking too. I'll give that.
It can be.
Death Note can be thought provoking too. But
if you sit back and think,
about it, they're so far in between. A lot of them are just
very few and far between. Like you said, this cotton candy. It literally like these animes are eye candy.
Yeah,
they're made to look good.
Look, I don't even mind if you do something original with it. Like, I know you're not the biggest fan of it, but One Punch Man to me, the only reason I give One Punch Man a slight pass on these criticisms that I give other animes is because it's a parody. When it's a parody and it's having fun and it's clearly having fun. It's not taking it. It's clearly.
And there are some animes that can do all this cotton candy bullshit, but be funny and original and be thought provoking, but be something of their own. Like fucking Devil's a Part-Timer.
Yeah, Devil's a Part-Timer. Yeah,
because that anime is a real. It's not just cotton, and it does have some bullshit in it that's cotton candy, but it's one of those things. It makes fun of it. Yeah. It makes fun of itself for being that way.
I feel like you can get away with it as long as you're self-aware.
Very much.
Some of these are not self-aware.
They're just they look at this and this is like fucking reality. Or there's some animes that throw common sense and logic out the window, like fucking Attack on Titan. I'm sorry. I'm going to get shit for that.
He said Attack on Titan just in case you didn't hear him on the cough.
Thanks.
Making sure you know what a hate mail goes.
Well, the reason why I had such criticism about that, because it literally took all logic and common sense and threw it out the fucking window. And I watched a video recently about a guy who explained the backstory up until the animated series. And I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck? This is just literally, you take all logic and common sense, throw it out the window. And that's why I'm like, watch an anime series, doesn't be logic. Shut the fuck up. Okay, like
because when you see the thing,
if you don't have some basis of logic at all, it's fucking immersion breaking.
The thing is, when you see movies like this, kind of ruin the watching anime experience to me because like Cowboy Bebop already kind of affected.
It did. I told you that too. Yeah, it did me too.
For anime, so I'm just like,
because now I hold up every other anime I watch by its standards, and I can't.
Smart, thought-provoking, interesting anime that's brutally honest and real. That like. I'm like, I just went from fucking going... It's like... You know what it's like? It's like going out to a goddamn gourmet 5-star restaurant with this beautiful, expensive-ass restaurant, eating this food, and it's just like, damn, this is beautiful. And then going to Chuck E. fucking Cheese.
and getting this fucking greasy cardboard pizza.
Like going from watching Cowboy Bebop to watching Fairy Tail. It's like going from a gourmet restaurant to Chuck E. fucking Cheese.
Or McDonald's.
Or McDonald's. Well, I work at McDonald's. So.
You're fired.
Dude, God dang it, Zeph said it. You're fired. Didn't even work there.
I know, right? But anyway, it is one of those damn anime like movies that literally like now I'm gonna judge every anime by it, and even animated series is by it. Every animated series now I'm gonna look at
I
and
will
go.
say, it made me realize that maybe the anime shit I want to see is in movie form, and maybe I need to go look into the movies and see what I can
Maybe
find.
the anime movies are a lot better than the series themselves.
Maybe I gotta go look into that, because like Spirited Away, another great animated movie. We might watch that again and review it too.
I haven't seen. You know what? You know when the last time I saw the movie was 2001.
So
That was
be a good rewatch.
That was a long time ago when I saw it. And like I said, I only remember bare minimum of that movie, and I'd love to see it again because I remember walking away from it even as a kid. I was like 7, 8 years old at the time. I think I was like, what? I was a kid. How do you do that to a kid? That was awesome.
There are so many animated movies like that. So you know what?
So anyway, I think you're gonna call it here.
Yeah, we're gonna call it.
So anyway, guys, we're gonna call it here. But anyway, like if you want to have this discussion in the comments, we'd love to talk to you about.
How did you think of Akira? What did you think of Akira?
Dude, it was one of the, like I said, I saw it and you were like, oh, dude, that's like the best anime movie of all time. I hear nothing but good things about it. I'm like, oh, okay, why not? It was like $7, and I was like, fuck it, why not? Let's pick it up. And I remember going through this movie. This movie was an adventure. It was like I put myself, it's like I put on those virtual reality things. I went on this adventure with them. It was awesome. I I said, I only had one tiny problem with it. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's it. So I'm like, the rest of it was thought provoking. It was real. It was unique. It was original, classic.
It felt like a classic. It felt like you were watching a classic movie.
It felt like that. It felt like The Untouchables if you hadn't seen it.
This is going to be a weird comparison, and it's going to be weird. It makes no sense at all. But follow me here.
All right.
When we first saw Moana, I said that Moana felt like a classic Disney movie. It felt like you weren't watching a Disney movie in 2006. It felt like you were watching a Disney movie that came out
in the 90s.
In the 90s. It felt like this classic Disney movie. This feels like a classic story, and it is a classic story, and it feels like that.
And you know what, though? I love the cyberpunk universe. I love anything cyberpunk.
Oh, by the way, this definitely pushed that. Like, after this movie, cyberpunk went...
Yeah. In this movie, I think of movies like Blade Runner, and I look at, and then I look at this. I love Blade Runner. I love the first one. The second one, the sequel was good, but it didn't quite live up to the first standards. But that's a sequel, kind of to be expected. But it's just like, but Blade Runner is pretty thought provoking too. If you watch it from start to, if you can get through it, that is. It is kind of a snore. It can be kind of a snore, but if you can get through it, it's very thought provoking, and that's what it reminded me of. There are very few movies nowadays, even movies, not just anime, but movies too, that are they're not that thought-provoking. Not very many of them, anyway, that are made nowadays that are very thought-provoking. And maybe that's where I like my animes now. I
don't need it to be all thought-provoking. No. I don't need it all to be, but at least have cool action like Naruto.
Oh, God.
At least have actual good action.
You thought I was going to get shit for Attack on Titan, man.
I'm just saying, at least have good action sequences, not a bunch of people swirling their arms around and hoping for the best.
Or being so overpowered that's how you beat someone, but, DBZ.
All right, let's bring this to a wrap.
Before we start insulting every anime we know out there. Anyway, guys, what did you think of Akira? Let us have I would love to have a discussion about it in the comment section below. So anyway, we'd love to hear your feedback. Anyway, thank you for joining us on
Comic Game Movie Show.
And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of us in the future. And we shall see you
in the next one.
Goodbye.
Oh shit, still recording.